Hi guys, Kiki here. I'm back with another video. I feel a lot better after last week, and I wanted to come online and just kind of tell you guys a little bit about this, the aftermath of this big perfume haul. I felt better after a while, but I still felt heavy, like some people get it. My son is one of them, and my husband was the same. Like they could go into a food coma, when they, for example, at a buffet, they just couldn't handle all that food. And if there are things that they like to eat, they would eat way too much, and they would feel like, oh, afterwards. I never do that with food. I don't know. To me, if I'm full, I'm full. But I went overboard with perfume. I was feeling heavy. I was up at 56 bottles. That's not where I want to be. So I decided that a good solution, I sold one fragrance. I'll tell you about that later because that's kind of an interesting thing that's really embarrassing to admit. But I sold a fragrance that I 8 months ago had on my 5 fragrances I love, 5 fragrances I hate list video. There was like a tag video. And it was one of the 5 fragrances that I love that I actually sold. So I feel like that's kind of embarrassing, but I never wore it. And then I felt a little bit like I'm a little bit too much influenced by Ramsey that I follow a lot, and he absolutely hated this fragrance. I guess I'll tell you what it is. It's Decas from Xerjoff. And Decas is, I love this fragrance so much. When I bought it, it had that perfect like hot and cold feeling together. I got like a eucalyptus vibe from it. There was, I couldn't pick out these notes, but it had like tobacco, mandarin orange, tuberose, and then these balsams in the base. And I never saw it as like a super sweet fragrance, or that was not my experience of it. It's kind of this cold, kind of cooling top. And then when I heard Ramsey talk about like that it smelled like this chalky Valentine's Day candy, and it's just so sweet, and it's so awful, and it's so, I don't know all the words he used, and I had to go back and revisit it, and I'm like, maybe he's right, It is really sweet, and it's really kind of candy-like, and I had also not worn it in a long time. Like I stand sometimes and sniff at it, but I don't wear it. So, and then I saw this guy online that was looking for Xerjoff fragrances, and I just, I wrote to him and I said I had a bottle of Decas, and it was a third of a bottle. So I sold that. Anyway, my taste changes, I guess. But I think I'm a little bit too much influenced by guys like Ramsey. He knows more than I do about fragrance, and he can describe it really well, and he knows like different quality ingredients and like how to tell and stuff. But I have to remember that we do have different tastes. I don't have his taste. And this video is going to be about my vintage samples that Julia, who follows this channel, has sent me because I was so curious, and that's been also after watching Ramsey. I really wanted to get into like the old like vintage fragrances, and just for myself, notice the difference. And I'll have to say that some are absolutely beautiful. I really, really love them. There are others though, kind of that I just feel they're just too dated. And there's a reason why they don't make these fragrances like this anymore. And the reason is not only that certain, that you can't make the oak moss the same way for different legal reasons or whatever, or, endangered animals. I don't think that's the only reason. I think that it just wouldn't sell because times change. It's just like the music sounded different many years ago. People don't listen to that music anymore, but it still has its value. But it's not what sells today. And I find that kind of an interesting thing. You can appreciate it anyway, but not so many of the fragrances here would I want a full bottle of, but I can appreciate their beauty. Oh, but first, before I get into that, I would just like to tell you how I got lighter. I've gone on a little crash diet here. I decided that it would be a good idea to have a little giveaway with my brother's family, because I was going to meet him the other day, and my parents and my son, one of my sons, was with me too. We went out to their country house, my parents' country house, and I thought I'd just bring a bag of fragrances that I've been thinking about letting go. Sorry, I just ate. I just came from the gym, and I haven't even had a shower. But I don't care. I know that you guys don't care so much either. You can't smell me at least. Okay, so I brought this bag of fragrances and I thought everyone could pick something out. And I thought, is this going to work? I didn't want to give each one something because I wanted them to like what they got. I don't like to give away fragrance to people that will not use it. You know, I want them to at least appreciate it. I'll say this. Okay, so there's my brother and his wife, and then they have two teenage daughters. They're like, how old are they? Like 14? Are they 14 and 16? Like, or something? Yeah, 14 and 16, I think. And then they have a son who's only, like, he'll be 9 or something. He's really small, but he wanted to be in on this too. And my dad was in on it. And my mom doesn't like fragrance at all, so she was just mostly in. She wanted to make sure that I didn't give anything to my dad that she totally hated. Okay, so I'll just let you know what I got rid of and the reasons for it. Electro Limonade from L'Orchestre Parfum. I bought last year because I was so blown away by the opening, and I thought it would be a nice challenge for me. It has this super citrusy opening with like all different citrus fruits with mint and rhubarb. It's really like tart, but it's really something, this opening. And then it kind of dries down quite quickly, unfortunately. Like these citrus notes, they don't last more than like 10 minutes. And then comes this kind of a little bit incensey base, but the projection is like really, really bad. The longevity is pretty bad too. Not horrible, but like, I mean, I never wear it. It's not my style of fragrance either. These like really loud citruses. And that's the one my nephew picked out, the younger guy. And then there was like a 40% left maybe in a bottle. And then my brother got Liberi, this fragrance that really reminds me of Dior Homme Intense. It's from a Swedish brand called Odorem Mundi. It's an organic brand. They've gone out of business, but I don't need that anymore because I have a fragrance called Manic Man from Neotantric Fragrances, which is also a Swedish brand that has gone out of business. But that one's also kind of similar. So, and I have like a 100 ml bottle of that. Clara gave it to me for my birthday, so I don't need two super similar fragrances in my collection anymore. And then my dad got Cuir Noir from Armani Privé, you know, these black bottles with a gold top. And I kind of said to my mom, doesn't this look cute? This look really cute in your bathroom. And she agreed. And this fragrance is really, really pretty. Like it has leather, but it's very, very soft leather. It has rose. It has, what else is in there? It has oud. I mean, it's really, really nice. It's beautiful, but there is no projection to speak of. And I've been so disappointed in this fragrance because the projection longevity are absolutely terrible. Otherwise, I would definitely wear that more, but I think my dad will like it, and then he won't bother my mother so much. So I thought that was like a perfect gift for him. Okay, and my brother also got this little 6 milliliter of Falcon Leather that I never wear from Matière Première. My two nieces, they got Precious Oud from Van Cleef & Arpels, which is not an oud fragrance at all to my nose. It is more like a balsamic floral fragrance, and it is the dry down of Black Orchid is quite similar to this fragrance. Although I hate like the first hour of Black Orchid from Tom Ford. This Precious Oud is really, really nice. It was one of the first kind of niche type. I know it's not a niche house, but they sell it kind of like niche. It's kind of the same. All the bottles are kind of similar, and they kind of focus on one note. And this one was oud without oud, but I've loved this fragrance a lot. There was like maybe 30-40% left in the bottle, and she loved it so much. So it was so nice to give it to her. And then the other niece, who's 14, she got Eroticon, which is like a chocolatey gourmand ginger fragrance with animalic undertones from the house of Pigmentarium from the Czech Republic. I mean, I don't wear it. End of discussion. Things that I don't wear should not be in my collection. I'm on to other things now. I don't wear gourmands too much, but when I do, they need this animalicness. But I have better. Now I have Absolute Aphrodisiac, which I really like, that has kind of a gourmand, chocolatey feeling with animalic undertones. So I don't need Eroticon, and I don't think I'll wear it. And it wasn't full either. It was like a half a bottle, maybe less. And let's see. Okay, and then my brother's wife got 2 travel size fragrances. One was Jazz Club from Maison Margiela Replica that is really similar to Santal Complete, which I have a full bottle of and therefore no longer need. And she also got a travel size of Rose of Dangerous Flamenco, which I got from someone at the Perfume meetup, from the house Simone Andrioli, which is kind of like a little bit easier wear than Oud Bouquet from Lancôme. Maison Lancôme, which it's kind of praline-y. It has dried fruits. It has rose, and I'm really off rose right now. I can't do rose. And she really, really liked these fragrances. So I felt really good about, and then I just figured out how many fragrances I had when I got home, and I'm down to 50 again now. So I just feel so much better. And now I really have to watch it because I don't like this after feeling I get when I get too much. But I'm actually really happy with what I bought so far, at least. I'm going to do separate videos on all of those, or maybe one video when I go through, when I've worn them a little bit more. So today is going to be about, I have to get my notes for this one, because there were so many fragrances in this box that Julia sent to me. Thank you so much, Julia. I'm super, super grateful to be able to get my nose on these. I'll start, there were no particular order. Acqua di Parma from 1930. From a house called Profumo. I put this on when I was up north with my friend Clara, and I had one spray on when we went to breakfast, and she was coming out of the bathroom and she said, "I smell vintage perfume." So one spray kind of filled the room, and it's really, really vintagey and kind of older style. And I don't think I would get a bottle of this, but I enjoy these creations. I like it. I like it. It's like a chypre. Basically, these fragrances I'm going to talk about today fall into kind of 2 different categories as I see it. One is kind of chypre fragrances, and one is more amber style fragrances. But the amber style is nothing like today's ambers, a different kind of ambers. And the chypres are all kind of, they have like a big long list of notes. Among the top notes are usually like galbanum, different green notes, sometimes fruits like peach. In the mid is like a bunch of florals. Oh, citruses also are typical in the top, and herbs sometimes. And in the middle, they're like all different florals. Some of them I have a little problem because they have like hyacinth, lily of the valley, lilac, and these fragrances are a little bit difficult for me. They come off a little sharp. And if those are amped up, then they flip over to like me not liking them. And then the base can be like oak moss, some patchouli, labdanum, sometimes some animalic notes like civet, musk. But sometimes the oak moss can be a little bit overwhelming, so it goes like too mossy. But I do like chypre as a style, but sometimes not. So that was Acqua di Parma from 1930. Then there's Jicky from Guerlain. I have this little tiny sample of Jicky. This is really beautiful and it goes in the ambery direction. It's a little Shalimar-esque, and I don't find this dated. It's a little fresher and more herbal than like Shalimar, I find. It also gets compared to Mouchoir de Monsieur from Guerlain. I guess that's also from Guerlain. Yeah, I mean, I really like this one. I don't think I would go and buy a bottle. Oh, this is really pretty. It's fresh. It's really, really fresh. And what I also found fresh was Shiseido Zen. Comes in a black bottle. It's an EDC, an eau de cologne. That one is really pretty, really green and fresh and watery and floral. And it's just like, oh, I would just like to take a shower in it. But the problem with Shiseido Zen is that it goes away like right away. Like it doesn't stay on my skin for more than like maybe a half hour. And like no projection. So I have a little bit of problem with that. But some of these are really fresh. Okay, then we come into Mitsuoko from Guerlain as well, 80s version. I cannot wear this. This is like, I know Ramsey, he rants about this, how in every single video, how incredible this fragrance is. I just can't wear it. It's too sour. It's too dated. On me, it's real. When I sniff the top like this, I think it smells really good. But when I put it on, I just can't do it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to save all of these. I'm not going to pass them on. And then in 6 months, I'm going to go back and see what I think, because I know like every 6 months, I find that my taste has changed. Okay, Mitsuoko is a no on me. Very bad on my skin. Silences from Jacomo from the 80s is another one of these difficult opening fragrances. Sharp, sour, aldehydic. And then it has Lily of the Valley. And Lily of the Valley is not my favorite floral, but the dry down is really good. So some of these you kind of have to wait for. Miss Dior, I wrote the same thing there. Beautiful. The opening is old smelling, but this one immediately goes into like softer territory and starts to smell incredibly beautiful. So the Miss Dior from the 60s was incredibly good. If you just get past that first blast of like old, dated fragrance. Jolie Madame from Balmain from the 60s. Might be a little bit too old school for me. I would not buy a bottle. It has leather, but it's not a heavy leather. I think it reminds me of, I don't have that bottle here, but a leather fragrance called Cuir de Lancôme that's discontinued. But it's not from the 60s, it's from the 80s, I think. But I got to borrow a bottle from a friend and wear it a few times, and I really enjoyed that leather fragrance. I think this might be a little bit, it's a pretty easy wear, but it still has that old school feeling. And you know, something interesting happened this morning. I was trying all these old fragrances again, like I've given them a few wearings now, and I've compared them a little bit and stuff. But when I had been through it, I had kind of all over in different parts of my arms and stuff. I got this weird headache, and I never ever have a headache. Like it was on this side, and it kind of was going like, it was pounding a little bit on one side. I mean, not pounding, not real bad, but like there was something going on in there. So, you know, maybe there's a reason that we should really be really grateful for, where they've, you know, forbidden certain chemicals and fragrances, and that they actually are not that great for our health. I mean, I didn't have that much on, but this doesn't usually happen to me with other like modern fragrances. So maybe the fragrances of today are a little safer to wear. Just an idea, you know, like I do think about this aspect actually, and try to avoid spraying too much. And I'm not doing so well with that though, because I enjoy it so much and it's my guilty pleasure. I try to think, you know, I don't drink so much, and I'm pretty healthy. Like the rest of my lifestyle is pretty healthy. Okay, what's next on the list? Shalimar PDT, Perfume de Toilette. This is a concentration that they no longer talk about. They no longer make. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was a little bit less concentrated than EDT, or if it's just kind of this different name or something. This is an incredible fragrance. I don't know what year it was from, but this I think was my favorite. I don't know about you, Julia. This was my favorite one from the whole box. And this doesn't feel dated like whatsoever. I like the opening, I like the mid, I like the dry down. Everything about this fragrance is perfect. And it's completely different from like ambers today, but it has that amber, like ambery notes in the base. And I think maybe they used to work a little bit more with the citruses in the top, perhaps. That's so pretty. I love this fragrance, the PDT. And then another fragrance that I really loved so much that I have actually now acquired a full bottle, I might have mentioned that already, is this Ivoire de Balmain. And this one is from, oh, she didn't write what year it's from, but I had to ask her, you know, because there's so many different bottles that have come out over the years with a classic like this. So I had to write to Julia and ask her, like, what did the bottle look like? And then a bottle came up in my feed. I'm going to go get it because I have it right here behind me. Let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm in my gym clothes still. Yeah, this is what it looks like. It looks really dated, but I'm so happy to find this, and I know the seller. It was one of the Swedish groups, and I only paid like 50-60 euros for it, and it's in perfect condition. It's just like the sample, and I'm so happy to have this. And it's like, I mean, I probably have like 30 milliliters, baby. And this one is not dated at all to me. And this one is even better than my old private collection that I so badly wanted to get. She also sent me that. And this is like, but this is a more concentrated version. I don't know if you can see, it's almost like oil. It's super concentrated. And the opening of this is just like I remembered Private Collection from my like young adulthood. Or was I even a teenager when I got this? Maybe like 18 or something. Super beautiful in the beginning. And then this one goes a little bit sour on me. So I'm thinking maybe the bottle or maybe this particular juice is a little old. I'm not sure. Or if maybe it just didn't do so well on my skin. But I'm super happy about this bottle. Okay, what's next? I'm going to tell you what it smells like first. It's like a beautiful green, fresh, Chypre style fragrance, but it's very fresh. Yet it has a really nice depth to it. It's not just watery and fresh like the Shiseido that disappears right away. This one is incredible. And then we have Val de Nuit. A lot of these are Guerlains actually. That's also really, really pretty, and I find that really fresh and not dated. And then Jublilation 25 from Amouage that came out in 2007. That was like their 25-year anniversary from when they were founded. This one, unfortunately, I've tried this before a few years ago. Didn't like it then, don't like it now. To me, it's like flowers and soap. It's like that sharp soap. It reminds me a little bit of like fragrances that my Swedish grandmother used to wear. My American grandmother on my mom's side never wore perfume. My grandfather did, but she never did. I can't remember. I can't remember her smelling like perfume, really. Let's see. And where were we there? Jubilation 25. Yeah, I don't know exactly where it is in here, but I did take some notes back then, and I have the same experience now from it. Just can't do it. It's old school Chypre. It's too sharp. I've even written it's a little skanky. I wonder what could be skanky in here. The musk, perhaps. I'm not sure what's skanky in here. It has ylang ylang, rose. I think, you know, the rose, like old style rose, like dried rose petals can sometimes go sour. I get kind of that sourness from it. So this was not a hit, and I'm not going to do Jubilation. It's the woman version. I want to make that clear. Jubilation 25 Woman from Amouage. That one was not for me. Then we have Femme Rochas from the 50s that was created by the great Edmund Rudnitska, who also taught Pierre Bourdon how to make perfumes. And Pierre Bourdon is the one who's made so many Creed fragrances, but he never got like his name on the bottle or got the cred that he deserved. If you guys want to know more about that story, you can read The Ghost Perfumer. Great book. I can highly recommend it. I read that like last year. Yeah, so, okay, Femme Rochas gets compared to Jubilation 25, but this one I like so much better because it's not soapy to my nose. It doesn't have that real sharpness. It's actually quite weak, though. So I'm thinking maybe because it's not so strong, it's easier for me to digest it. It's kind of fruity in the top, and it has leather in the base. Yeah, the Chypres can sometimes be like, they can have fruits in the top, but not always. They can have animal notes like leather. Maybe they always have a little bit of animalic. I'm not sure about the exact definition of a Chypre. I have researched this, but there are lots of different definitions. But basically, the florals are a must. Some kind of earthy note like oak moss, patchouli is a must. And some kind of citruses in the top like bergamot is also a must. But then the Chypres can go in different directions, but what else they, by what else they add. And this one has leather and fruits. And I like this fruity. I mean, this is very nice. Femme Rochas. I'll wear that again. And then we have one called Aire by Loewe. Spelt Aire, but with an E on the end. It comes in a vintage oval bottle. I had a hard time finding the notes of this. I found the notes for another shape bottle, and it was kind of this typical long listing with galbanum and 1,000 different notes. But this one was soapy and green, but in a very beautiful way. So I really liked Aire. And then Halston. And I'm not sure if Halston both is the name of the perfume and the house, because it says Halston Natural Cologne, and it's from 1975. That's all I know. The opening is dated, but just after a few minutes, it goes into kind of an ambery kind of place. So I really, really like it. And if I understood correctly, there are bottles of this kind of going around. I haven't asked her, Julia, exactly what her bottle looks like. I would not dare buy one like on eBay or something, because there seem to be a lot of different, for like different years and batches of this. The bottles look a little bit different, and but they looked quite inexpensive, these fragrances, actually, Halston. But they're very, very nice. It's fresher than yeah, I've written ambery yet fresh, because I find that ambers of today, like the modern ambers, like the or more Oriental or Middle Eastern, I should say, style fragrances are like, they have like a resinous base, like they're very resinous, and they can have sweetness from vanilla, but they don't have that. They don't have that really citrusy top and freshness. They're not as, they're more, I don't know. I just, they're completely different, I think, but you can still tell that they're ambers, if you know what I mean, but they're just different than the ambers from today. I don't find this deep, like amber sultan kind of amberiness, because they have also this oak moss, and they have like the citruses, and sometimes some fruit. It's just different, very different style. I think that was the last one, actually. So just to summarize, there are a few here that I really like, and that are really fresh, and I think are really well made, and very, very different from what you can get today, and that I really appreciate that. And then there are some here that I just cannot do, because they're too sour and too sharp and too, you know, if Chypre might not be my favorite style of fragrance if the oak moss is too heavy, or if there has too much, if there's rose in there and there's too much rose. I think those are. I haven't really learned this this particular category that well. I mean, but this vintage, even though these are from all different decades, I can kind of like, I can right away kind of smell that this is something that wasn't produced today. Like even the ones that I say didn't smell dated, they have something really, really. I'm kind of smelling where I smelled. I mean, I can still smell that, like the Shalimars of today, that this is what it once was, if you know what I mean. It's not a completely different fragrance, but that the ingredients are different, the proportions are different, the way it was created, it's just different. But I'm not sure like that these would sell, like not all of these. I mean, to the masses, no. And what I've noticed, like when I've done comparisons, the fragrances of today are really sweet. It's just like the food, like the food is really sweet, and in kind of a maybe sometimes not very natural way. And I think it's the same with the perfumes. Some perfumes make a really good first impression because they have that sweet blast, or these you have to kind of wait for. I think that's probably true for most of these, that they have, the opening is a little challenging. So maybe that's what's kind of like, driving the market, is to make perfumes with a better opening. Because now I find today, like with modern perfumes, that it's hard to find a perfume that really delivers like all the way through. I mean, like Symphonium from Xerjoff is like so beautiful in the opening. But what happens, it kind of dries down to a generic vanilla. I mean, there are several of these fragrances that are like, I mean, this Electro Limonade is one example of that. Modern fragrance, great opening, and then what happens? It just goes to nothing. Yeah, so I think that's maybe, and these you have to work a little bit with. You have to wait for them. They need their time to warm up on the skin, and then that sourness kind of is maybe softened by the fruits that come out, or the natural sweetness of the florals, things like that. So this has been a really interesting experience, and I'm by no means ready with these. I'm definitely gonna continue to use them and compare them to newer things, and I think it's just super, super interesting. I'm very happy to have some new followers, new subscribers. I mean, it's not for me because I want to become, any big famous influencer. That's not the reason. But I just think that there should be more of us out there on YouTube, that we spend our own money on fragrances. We have our own opinions. We're not obliged to say anything. We don't have collaborations. I really appreciate that about Ramsey, and also Rich Mitch that I've started to follow. Ramsey talks about Rich Mitch. I guess they're buddies. They're the same age, but he's from somewhere in Britain. He doesn't have like I don't know exactly where he's from, but I don't know what he looks like either because he doesn't show his face, but he has like a profile picture that looks like a duck. So sometimes Ramsey will talk about the duck. And I have the same opinion as Rich Mitch when it comes to influencer marketing. And this bothers him a lot. And I just love that he expresses this in really simple words. He said the other day when I was listening to one of his videos that he was doing a review of Matière Première, that house. And he says that, you know, all these influencers are getting these bottles, but they're actually recommending us to buy fragrances that they would not buy with their own money because they get the bottles free, yet they're telling us to buy them. And that is just wrong. And I like that he just said, this is just wrong. And I so much agree. And I think it's just so refreshing to listen to these two guys. I mean, there are definitely other, reviewers out there that are totally honest as well. But I just appreciate it so much. I mean, Ramsey even, I think, has like had personal contact with Victor Wong from Zoologist, and Victor sent him like all samples from the entire house. And Ramsey's has summarized, he says only 2 are full bottle worthy for him. So there's no politeness involved there. He doesn't care. And I mean, he'll say the sprayers are bad, or the name is stupid, or and then he reads these blurbs and talks about how silly they are and stuff. And it's just super, super entertaining. I find it really entertaining, but we don't have the same taste. We just don't. But I have followed his recommendations. I have a little mini of Bel Ami, and I really, really like that. That's like a very non-dated fragrance that still has its place, I think. And I wore that and I really, really enjoyed it. It doesn't last that long on me, like maybe 3 hours, but as long as it lasts, it's beautiful. Oh God, now my voice is getting, I think I have to, yeah, as Rich Mitch always says, excuse me whilst I hydrate. Maybe I should start a glass of water on the side. He says that like all the time in every video, sometimes like twice. Yeah, I like these different, characters, just to find some, we all have our own style, and I like that. If I see this thing with like sexiest fragrance and this will get you this curly fragrance, I just think it's so embarrassing. Like when she's 10 years older, she's going to look back and like, what was I doing? I get embarrassed. Like certain reviewers, they embarrass me. Like I think it's so stupid and so silly and so this overly sexiness. I think it's just, I don't know, not natural. This is not natural to me. It's just, and I just don't see why they do it. What does it give them? And it's so repetitive, and like they're just doing the same thing every time. And it's all just, 5 best this and 5 best that and sexiest and panty droppers. And it's, I don't know why they're in it, It can't just be money. It must be something else. Because why would you embarrass yourself like that otherwise, Okay, so that was my little video of vintage fragrances. I think I got them all. Did I talk about all these? I think I did. Appreciate it so much. I love trying new fragrances, and I feel so much lighter this week after my big perfume haul. The hangover is definitely over, and I have to watch myself. If I go somewhere else this summer, I really gotta make a plan before I go. Maybe I'll discuss it with you guys before I take off for Paris. I mean, we might actually go to Dublin or some other place. But there, you might run into a nice niche shop there too. All right, guys, that was all for today.